This is the Steve Gruber Show.
It sure is, live from the shadow of Detroit, kicking off another brand new hour here on the Steve Gruber Show from the Heartland, and fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom, which always makes me ask, who's in your foxhole today? Who do you want there when the chips are down? Because they will be. A lot of work to do here today, so let's get started. Here are three big things. Number one, Democrat lawmakers stormed Speaker Mike Johnson's office Wednesday, scuffled with Capitol Police, and pulled a total political stunt during the government shutdown they are promoting. Number two, President Trump held a press conference with FBI Director Kash Patel and others Wednesday and gave a full-throated endorsement of his policies and a defense of the DOJ. And number three, President Trump set to meet with Chinese dictator Xi Jinping at the end of this month in South Korea for what will be the first time since 2019. And thanks to President Trump, we're making huge strides toward being less reliant on the communist regime than ever before. It's an important step. America is roaring back to energy dominance under Trump's leadership, and it's about time. We've got the greatest resources on the planet, and now we're finally unleashing them without all the red tape and woke nonsense holding us back. Take that, Unleashing American Energy. Take that, Unleashing American Energy executive order that Trump signed on day one. It happened January 2025, and boom. It slashed burdensome regulations, opened up federal lands for drilling, put America first in producing affordable, reliable energy. The One Big Beautiful Bill has accomplished much of the same, streamlining permits, funding pipelines, getting rid of the green energy initiatives, and wasting taxpayer dollars. For example, General Motors is currently nursing a $1.6 billion loss after the electric vehicle subsidy got whacked. Why? Because the electric vehicle market was completely created by government policy and your tax dollars, your money. It wasn't a real business plan. Now GM is significantly reducing manufacturing EVs, which is a huge about-face from 2021, when GM said they were preparing to phase out gas vehicles altogether by 2035. I told you then it wouldn't happen. I told you if they went down that road, they'd be bankrupt. They've gotten on a different road. Trump has practically dismantled the Green New Deal. That's how the former EPA chief of staff sees it anyway. Listen to this.
$3.7 billion worth of funding cuts to clean energy operations. We're told that climate startups are pausing operations. Some are going bankrupt. Mandy, has Trump completely dismantled the green agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. And he said he was going to. And you have to think about these startups. It's not like they were bringing some great new technology to the energy market that was going to change life for the everyday Americans for the better. These were government subsidized ideas that really did little in the way of making electricity affordable and reliable, which is the priority of President Trump. And he understood getting rid of the Green New scam and all of the affiliated interests alongside that was really important for getting back to the business of developing the resources of which we've been abundantly blessed, investing in new technologies that are actually going to deliver more energy at an affordable rate, and that's what he's doing.
And that's what he's doing. Now compare that to Sleepy Joe's disaster of energy policy. Under Biden, it was all about appeasing the radical left with their electric car fantasies and windmill obsessions, while shutting down pipelines, banning new leases on federal land, closing power plants. He drove up gas prices, made us beg OPEC for oil, and left vulnerable, all of us, to foreign dictators. And was proud of it. He was proud of it. Remember this?
Are you ready to commit to the responsible phase-out of fossil fuel production as part of your administration?
Well, look, we got to go to zero emissions, man.
Zero emissions.
Zero emissions.
And
we can. It's within our wheelhouse. And the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
But kiddo, I want you to just take a look, okay? You don't have to agree. But I want you to look in my eyes. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate with you, okay?
Yeah. Think of how much farther along we could have been and would be hadn't that guy hamstrung the entire effort. But Trump, he's flipped the script. Drill, baby, drill. We're seeing an uptick in drilling in the Gulf of Mexico like never before, with production set to climb in 25 and 26, adding hundreds of thousands of barrels a day. And look at Alaska's new LNG pipeline. Construction kicking off next year in 2026, folks. This beast will ship liquefied natural gas from the North Slope to the tune of 3.5 billion cubic feet of gas a day. A day. Unbelievable. And it's going to do good for more than just the United States. This pipeline will contribute to global security. Doug Burgum said so. Listen to this.
The Biden administration, 68 executive orders against energy production in Alaska, just completely handcuffing America. And at the same time, of course, the Biden administration put a ban on production and the construction of LNG export facilities. These kinds of activities clearly helped our adversaries, helped Iran, helped Russia, helped them fund wars against us, hurt the American consumer. It's part of the policies that cost that party the election. But under President Trump, he believes in innovation, not in regulation. And right now, we're unleashing American energy. President Trump signing this historic trade deal with Europe. They're agreeing to buy $250 billion of energy a year from America. And again, just this morning on the phone, speaking with the Minister of Energy from Italy, these folks are now buying zero Russian gas. The U.S. is going to be the #1 provider of LNG to the country of Italy.
I mean, how do you beat that? We will be the #1 producer of energy. Under Donald Trump, we are reducing reliance on foreign suppliers. And the EPA's new renewable fuel standard rule proposal is supercharging that. Announced in June of 25, it's boosting biofuel volumes for 26 and 27, mandating more suppliers to cut ties with overseas oil. Biden and the leftists would never have done that. They were too busy killing the Keystone XL pipeline and pandering to the green lobby. It was a socialist fever dream that crippled our economy and more. Trillions of dollars spent to ban fossil fuels, kill cows, and remake the energy sector into some utopian nightmare that would have bankrupted us. Clearly, just like it would have bankrupted General Motors. Those setbacks cost us years. Higher energy bills for families, lost jobs in coal country, and a weaker position on the world stage. If we'd stuck with Trump's first-term playbook without the Biden interruption, we would be fully energy independent today, exporting like crazy and telling the Middle East, hey, take a hike. Let's talk about the fearmongers propping up this green hysteria. Guys like John Kerry and Al Gore. Kerry jets around the world in a private jet, lecturing you and I about carbon footprints while cozying up to China, the biggest polluter on Earth. Oh, back in 2009, he made a wild prediction. I'll take you down memory lane. Listen to this.
In 5 years, scientists predict we will have the first ice-free Arctic summer. That exposes more ocean to sunlight. Ocean is dark. It consumes more of the heat from the sunlight, which then accelerates the rate of the melting.
Talk about science deniers. These guys are clowns. Of course, it didn't happen. No ice-free winter or summer or anything else. Oh, and by the way, newsflash, this just in, winter is coming. Winter is coming. Sounds like Game of Thrones, doesn't it? How about Al Gore? We'll do that when we come back, all right? Energy independence, a cornerstone of the Trump administration and a good one. I'll be right back. All right, how about Al Gore? John Kerry and Al Gore, maybe two of the biggest fearmongers of all, out there preaching green doom and gloom. Al Gore's been predicting doomsday since I can remember. Ice caps melting, polar bears dying, the end of civilization in just 10 years. Here he appears in a 1982 CBS News report that predicted 25% of Florida was soon going to be underwater. He said it was inevitable. Listen.
If these scientists are correct, about 25% of Florida would be flooded, along with low-lying areas all over the world. Climate changes could produce widespread disruption of agriculture. The American farm belt might be too dry, and the wheat and corn crops would have to move to Canada. Scientists blame the odorless, colorless carbon dioxide gas for these potentially dangerous changes around the planet. Now, some political leaders endorse the demands for more CO2 monitoring stations, like this one in Hawaii. And they share the anger of the scientists at Reagan administration budget cuts at a time when they feel closer to getting definitive answers.
We are not doing the kind of research that we should be doing to determine whether or not these scientists who are so alarmed are correct in their assessment.
1982. Here we are, it's 2025. 44 years later, and guess what? The world's still spinning. America's thriving because Trump ignores their alarmist bug. Their so-called climate crisis is just a Trojan horse for more government control, higher taxes, and destroying American industry and Western civilization. Trump's approach, real solutions like drilling and mining, and yes, renewables, but only when it makes sense and not at the expense of our nation and national security. Which brings me back to China. Beijing just tightened its rare earth export controls, slapping restrictions on key metals that we need for everything from EVs to military tech. It's a blatant power play, folks, because right now China controls 80% of the global supply, and they're weaponizing it to kneecap us. We are in an asymmetrical war with China, clearly. They know it, we don't. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says it's China versus the world at this point. Here he is.
If some in the Chinese government want to slow down the global economy through disappointing actions and through economic coercion, the Chinese economy will be hurt the most. And make no mistake, this is China versus the world. They have put these unacceptable export controls on the entire world. China is a command and control economy, and we and our allies will neither be commanded nor controlled. They are a state economy, and we are not going to let a group of bureaucrats in Beijing try to manage the global supply chains.
Obviously, negotiations are going to be part of that, but Trump's not sitting idly by. In the wake of these controls, the U.S. is ramping up domestic mining in places like California, where one rare earth mine was able to supply almost 16% of the world's rare earth production in just 1 year. 16% of the world's supply. What if we just kept it for ourselves? Now we're building another one. We're also investing in places like Wyoming, where rare earth minerals exist in abundance. Here's more.
The United States uses about 10,000 tons a year of rare earth. We've got 1.7 million. So just on the math, that's north of 150 years worth of supply just at this mine. So this mine will basically be America's answer to China.
So, domestic production is key, but it's not Trump's only tool. We're forging alliances with allies like Australia and Canada to shore up our rare earth minerals and products right now. We're investing in recycling tech and new extraction methods to break free of Xi's grip. Trump's critics have argued that Trump's tariffs got him into this mess, but let's be clear. China is the aggressor here. Again, an asymmetrical war. They're fighting one. We're just joining the fight, and Trump's not willing to get beat up. Even CBS News had to admit the truth. Here they are.
I do want to highlight that a lot of the analysts that I talk to do not put the blame on the president here, that it was really China going back to last week that reignited this tit-for-tat trade war when they put those export controls on those very important rare earth minerals. I know everyone's at home is probably like, what is that? It's important for everything from your car to your cell phone to your semiconductor chips. It's really an important piece for a lot of companies, especially tech companies in this country, in order to make their products. And China owns 70% of the global resource. So yes, now we're seeing this back and forth, but a lot of analysts I'm talking to said, look, the president needed to do something.
And he has. And as I've pointed out, Trump's done a lot more than just institute tariffs and pursue negotiations. He's put America back in a position to even bring China to the table. I remember waiting in long lines at the gas station as a kid in the 70s thanks to the Arab oil embargo. I remember the fear and helplessness that we all felt. It was enough to completely change our energy policy. We can't forget that. And we have to keep pushing forward to use the abundance of natural resources we have right here in America. Energy security isn't just about lights and gas. It's national security, economic power, and freedom from foreign meddling. I applaud Donald Trump's pursuit of energy independence for America. We are the #1 producer of energy in the world. In the 1970s, sitting in that car, waiting for gas, never thought I'd see the day. But with this president, we break free of those old shackles and move forward, putting America first. And by the way, speaking of green deals, there are some that make sense. If you're tired of being at the mercy of propane prices, if you've got a well in your yard, a water well, you're halfway to energy independence. Add a well-connect geothermal system in just 8 hours. Cut your heating bills by up to half while cooling your home more efficiently, too. No excavation, no major renovation, and no more surprise fill-ups from big propane. WellConnect is the solution you're looking for. WellConnectGeo.com. If you're looking to cut your heating bill in half, extend the life of your furnace and air conditioner, WellConnectGeo.com. They're also looking for more dealers, HVAC dealers across America. So here's a way to cut your prices massively. Oh, and by the way, there are subsidies left. If you want one of those subsidies to put a geothermal system in your house, you've got until the end of the year. This is a great time to go look. Anywhere. If you've got a well in your yard and it's cold, you want to save money, WellConnectGeo.com. And new HVAC dealers, you can call too. WellConnectGeo.com. That is green energy done right. I'll be right back.